Well, happy Friday, everybody. Oh, my name is Katie Lowe, and I'd like to welcome you to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Meta, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker. And soon coming to TikTok very soon. Okay, listen, we've got a 3-day weekend because we've got a holiday coming up. So some of us are going to be out for work for a while, and I know that you're going to enjoy it. And all I can say is enjoy your weekend, but also while you're enjoying the holiday weekend, make sure that you are careful and cautious of your surroundings. Today is Friday, and it's Friday at 5, and it's time for another edition of a conversation with Raymond. Before I bring Raymond on, I just want to give thanks to our sponsors. I want to give thanks to Martha's Helping Hands and all that they do. I want to ask you to sow a seed for humanity for Martha's Helping Hands because there are advocates for the homeless by any means necessary. So I ask that you sow your seed to Turner's. That's TURNERS 412 at marthashelpinghands.org. Make your donation today. That's Turner's TURNERS 412 at marthashelpinghands.org. And they have been great sponsors, and we do appreciate them. And also, I want to give another shout out to Brothers Standing Together, another great sponsor that keeps us afloat. Brothers Standing Together is a community service organization, a 501c community service organization standing with returning citizens, incarcerated men, women, and children returning back into society. And if you need to contact them at info, at brothersstandingtogether.com. So if you have a loved one, or if it's you yourself that, you're a returning citizen and you need help, contact Brothers Standing Together. That's at info at brothersstandingtogether.com. Okay, Brother Raymond should be here soon because when he starts the show, he likes to begin everything in prayer. And while he's not here, I want to play this awesome video clip. And this video clip tells about his past life. I mean, his past life is an open book. There is nothing that he hides. When he tells his story, he tells everything. So I want to show you this awesome video clip that was put together for him, and the name is "We All Have a Number." So while we're waiting for him, I'm going to play you this video clip, and I'll be back.
We all have a number at the end of the day, and that number states that you was a menace to society at this point in time, and that every time you go to apply to get better in life, that number will pop up and it'll shoot you down and they'll take away every opportunity that you have. I've been incarcerated 6 times in Illinois Department of Corrections. I did over 15 years of my life. I always thought I would die inside of the penitentiary because I didn't see a way out. I didn't have no way out, and there wasn't nobody there to help me to stay out. I just didn't want to live like that no more. And so I made an executive decision not to do so. I'm an author. I've written a book. I have my own organization. I have my own company. I have my own radio show. I've been doing activism all around the world. So could you please let me be who I am and take off some of them barriers that restrict me from being able to be a productive member of society. The system is broken because the system to us is designed for us to fail, not to win, not to become a productive member of society. But that's why I made the decision I made, because I want to be an advocate for helping our brothers and sisters and teach them how to become productive members of society. I have a 501c3 non-for-profit organization called Brothers Standing Together. We work with the men and women coming home from prison, as well as the high-risk youth. We feed the homeless, and we take care of the elderly. Well, if my record was a sponge, I can open some recovery homes, which was a lifelong dream of mine. I can employ a lot of other people. I can do so many things as far as the advocacy. We can show these men and women exactly what's going on and how to help them out of those pitfalls, because we love you, and you're better than that. You're exceptional. And don't let the wreckage of your past reflect on your future.
My name is Raymond Richard, born and raised in Cabrini Green. I lived down in the row houses down there originally. My life spiraled out of control at the age of 11. My two brothers was affiliated, so that only encouraged me even more to be affiliated. So as my life started to spiral out of control, I turned to drugs heavily. And then from 17 on to 42, I was in and out of Cook County Jail and the penitentiaries.
What makes Raymond great is he isn't afraid to talk about his experiences.
In the penitentiary, on this last penitentiary run, I've just asked myself, what do you want? Is this going to be your end, the penitentiary and drugs all your life? What do you want in life? And I want to come out better than I came in. I wanted to give back to my community for all the stuff that I've done. I found what my purpose was. I wanted to be an outreach worker. I wanted to help the gangbangers. I wanted to help the people that was addicted to drugs, and I wanted to help the people that was homeless. So now I found my purpose in life. And since then, I've been home, and that's where I created Brothers Stand Together So No One Stands Alone, a 501c3 organization which work with youth 14 to 24, as well as men and women coming home from prison, as well as feeding the homeless.
I first met Raymond when we launched our Leadership Council table in 2014. Raymond is one of the founding members.
Our Leadership Council, made up of clients, former clients, and advocates in the community, really grounds us in what the issues are and gives us solutions as to how we can overcome and solve those issues.
We go down to Springfield and we help pass 7 to 8 bills thus far.
When we passed our ceiling and expansion bill, that was my favorite memory because it opened up so many doors for so many people to have a second chance at life by having their records sealed or expunged.
We have to lift up those voices and make sure that they are included, that we're hearing from them. What do they need?
If you want to be a difference, then you got to be involved. So by me wanting to make a difference, I got involved. And that's why this award is so precious and dear to me, and I'm so excited to receive it. I just thank God. I thank the Cabrini Green Legal Aid and the whole CGLA staff. To be honored for something today is like a miracle. And I just look forward to doing more positive work.
Okay, now that's just a little bit about Brother Raymond. So you can see why he works so hard for returning citizens, incarcerated men, women, and children. Because this man knows the ropes by firsthand, by experience. And that's why he's out here advocating for them. So without further ado, I bring to you Raymond Richard, aka Brother Raymond.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. And welcome to another edition of A Conversation with Brother Raymond. I'm your host. As always, as we do, we give our reference to God and then we take it from there. Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for waking us up in our right frame of mind, guiding our path. Lord, we ask that you keep all hurt, harm, and danger away from each and every child in the universe. Lord, we ask that you continue to guide us and order our steps. We pray all these things in your manifest Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for joining a conversation with Brother Raymond. Today is a very, very special show. Today we have Sister Maria Barlow. She's running for judge, and we have 5 other sisters running for judge, and I'm going to give them off to you in alphabetical order. I got to snatch them up. We have Chelsey Renee. We have Jenetia Marshall. We have Mable Taylor. And we have Jackie Portman Brown. They will all be joining us previously in a few minutes on this show. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us get in tune to this show. You always ask about the judges. We talked about the judges. And now you will find out firsthand about these judges, what they're doing, what they plan to do once they get in there. And we also have the tough questions. My partner, Katie Lowe, has sent me some questions, and we got some serious questions to ask. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this is a good show. Good evening. How you doing? Yes. Let's get into, we're going to get into Maria. So Maria Barlow is a principal attorney at the Barlow Law Firm, LLC. Born and raised in Chicago, Maria completed her undergrad degree at Northeastern Illinois University, where she graduated cum laude and went on to attend the John Marshall Law School. As a student, Maria was active in several legal associations and completions, such as Black Law Students Association, the Public Interest Law Council, ABA Labor and Employment Law Mock Trial Competition, and the Loan Counselor Predatory Lending Project. At Barlow Firm, LLC, Maria uses her wide range of skills and experience to provide affordable and professional legal representation to a diverse community of clients. Diverse, y'all, with over a decade of expansive legal experience. Her practice focuses on a variety of issues, including estate planning, family law, conceal and carry, self-defense, and personal injury. Maria's contribution and interest does not stop at law. She continues to expand her knowledge and experience by serving as a member on the board of directors for several community and student groups, including Minority Legal Education Resources, Inc., J.M. Dangles Foundation, and serving on the John Marshall Law School Alumni Association and the University of Illinois Extension Council. In 2021, Maria was appointed by the governor to the Illinois Healthcare and Family Services Child Support Advisory Committee member, and the University of Illinois Extension Council. Marie has earned numerous awards and accolades for her efforts in providing legal assistance, counsel, and service to her community. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but that is a heck of a resume. And without further ado, if Katie Lowe would be so kind as to bring my guest on. Hey, watch out now. Hey, I wouldn't look. Watch out. Here is Maria, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, our next judge. Yes, I'm claiming in Jesus' name. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Well, I am great now. I'm talking to you. I got to the show. Girl, I was in the barber shop and I forgot I was in the barber shop. They took so long. I was like, hold on, I got to get out of here. I got to get out. I got a show.
I had a day myself.
So without further ado, you tell us about who you are, because I read who you are. You tell us who you are.
Absolutely,
Tell the
absolutely,
people. Tell the people.
absolutely. So I'm a private practice practitioner practicing in family law. So divorces, child support, child custody, as well as estate planning. And we take personal injury cases. We take a multitude of cases. And then I also do concealed carry self-defense. Um, Running for Cook County Judge. I'm running for the first judicial sub-circuit. So that's southeast side. And it goes south from 68th to the end of the city line. It goes from the lake to Damon. And then I have Dalton, Burnham, Calumet City, and South Holland as well.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, how do you plan to execute this movement? Because I know a lot of people always talk about, we want vote for me, vote for me. What are you doing on your part and your effort? Are you attending a lot of events? Are you out there passing, knocking on doors? Are you putting in signs? What are you doing to help further your effort so that we can help you get into this behind the bench and be that judge that we know you could be?
Absolutely. So I'm doing a lot of different things. I can't give you all of my strategy. But I won't give you all of my strategy, but I'll give you some of it. So absolutely, we go knocking doors. I got a large client base, so my clients are reaching out to people. My clients are spreading the word to their friends and family. We have a social media presence. And then one of the things that I'm doing too, because there's so many African American women that are running for judge and we're not running against each other, I have asked and tried to make it very clear to everybody, listen, this is our time. This is the time that we can change the judiciary if we choose to. Everybody complains. We don't know the judges. We don't know this. We don't know that. So what I did, I tried to put together a group of African American women. We're all Black women. We're all mothers. And we're all running in different races. Yes.
Wow.
So, yes. So put everybody together so that people can understand that, listen, we're not running against each other. We're all united. We want to all win. So make sure you vote for all of us. If you in the sub-circuits, you can vote for one or the other, but spread the word. Let them know that there is a group of Black African-American women from the area that are invested, that are caring about what goes on around us, because we don't live in Evanston and other places and then just blow off the south and west sides. We live in the south and west sides. We live in the south suburbs. So we want to make sure that we all win and we're all being represented on the bench, because when you go into court, we all know it's just us. So we got to have some representation on the bench as well, so that people can understand what's going on in court, and you have somebody that is listening, i.e. the judge, and understands you and your culture. That's extremely important.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So if I'll just say, why Maria? Why should I believe in you, Miss Barlow?
Absolutely.
We've been lied to so much. Why should we believe in you?
I don't disagree. So part of why, and I'm sorry, I keep looking down because I know the other candidates are logged in as well. But
bring them on the screen. Bring them on the screen.
They should have their links. You should be able to link them in. They're not. Oh, there you go. There's Chelsey. You have to log. I think you have to put them all in.
There they come. They come. Here they come. Here they come. They go to posse. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all see it firsthand.
We're missing one person. Is she logging in?
One. Okay, Jackie. Okay. Now, do I got it right, Miss Marshall? Say your first name so I say know if it's right.
Jenetia.
Jenetia, I got you. Because I know Jenetia. Okay. All right. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have the panel. We're missing one, but I am honored to have you ladies on the show. My buddy. I just made him my buddy, Maria. Maria is so adamant about the movement for you sisters that I just had to get all of you on the show. As you already know, that it's a very shortage of us on the bench, and it's a shortage of us who actually cares. And so my platform today is you guys' platform, okay? So before we go any further, Chelsey, give us a background. Give us some information about you, Chelsey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chelsey Renece Robinson, and I'm running for Cook County Circuit Court Judge. I am running countywide. I have been practicing law for over 25 years, doing civil and criminal litigation. That means that I do I have a very diverse practice. I do family law, I do criminal law, felonies, misdemeanors, breach of contract, real estate, employment discrimination. So I have a very diverse practice. In addition, I have had an opportunity to argue before the Illinois Supreme Court, the Illinois Appellate Court, and the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. So I have been, at my experience, I'm very experienced. I'm also fair and dedicated to justice, and I've been working in the community for over 25 years. One of the questions you asked, Maria, is why should they vote for us over other people? Well, as mothers, African-American women attorneys, we have been working in the community. We just didn't start because we wanted your vote. I am the first vice president of the NAACP Chicago Southside branch. I also mentor in the Juvenile Detention Center and started my own non-for-profit with my husband, the Provision Project. And we're in the Juvenile Detention Centers every Saturday, making sure that we're mentoring our young children so they can come out and make better choices. So it's important that you elect people to be judges who are actually working in your community. As Maria said, we live in the community. We love the community and we care about our community. So people who care about you are on the bench and they're there to listen to you. And we all have that platform that we believe you need to have a meaningful day in court. And that's why we're running.
All right. Come on, Jackie. Come on, keep it going, Jackie. Keep it going.
First and foremost, I would like to thank you for this wonderful opportunity. One of the issues that we as minority women have is not having a lot of platforms that we can go to address ourselves to the community. I also like to thank Maria. I can never, ever, ever do anything without thanking Maria for the wonderful, excellent idea she had to have us all join together, to work together, to show that we are a force, that we're not against each other. You know, we can work together and all win. My name, as you said, is Jackie Marie Portman Brown, and I am running for the 5th Judicial Sub-Circuit. And the 5th Judicial Sub-Circuit, there are 2 spots. I am running for the Shelley vacancy. The 5th Sub-Circuit is approximately from 22nd Street up to about 74th, 75th Street, and we go from the lake all the way up to Western, so we don't go past Western. I have been a lawyer for and a former judge for 23 years. I've been practicing law. I was a judge for 12 years, and now I am seeking a seat again in the 5th Judicial Sub-Circuit, my home base. I was born and raised in the Inglewood community, have stayed there all my life, have lived within the 5th Judicial Sub-Circuit, Inglewood. So don't play with the wood. I have been here all my life. My service to our community didn't start because I wanted to become a judge. My service started way back before I even knew what a judge was, because I was raised under the modem that it takes a village. And back in Inglewood, as bad as the press we get over in Inglewood, there were villages in Inglewood, and there still are villages in Inglewood. And it's important that the kids see the village and see that villagers do make it out of the village and then come back and help. And that's what I have been doing all my life. While I was a judge, I had 2 programs. If the first program was a Scared Straight program for first-time offenders, and I literally scared them straight, where they never came back into the system again. And the second program I ran was a last chance program, meaning that the judges that they were in front of was going to send them to the Illinois Department of Corrections. And they had one final try to come to me for me to save them. While I was presiding over that court call, I quadrupled the success rate of not sending our people of color to prison. And that was big. Wow. That was big for me, because they needed to see people who look like us in these positions. And then they needed to know that although a penalty sometimes had to be paid for what they did, they had a right to be treated with decency, with respect. They had a right to understand the proceedings that were going on in front of them. They had a right to be spoken to and not spoken at. And those are the things that I prided myself in while I was on the bench. And now that I've had a little respite from the bench, I actually got pregnant. I have twins. I'm a mother myself. And I think about my son. And I think about the challenges he will continue to face in this world. And we just need more continued representation of people of color in these places who will be independent, follow the law, and do what is best for all people. And by all people, that includes us. And it's important to have people from the sub-circuits brought in because we know what happens in those neighborhoods. We've lived there all our life. We just didn't move in for the purpose of running in this area. So we bring all of that wealth of experience to the bench with us when we go, when we're educating not only the community, but the lawyers and the other judges that we encounter about what happens everyday life in our communities, because there is a difference. And that difference has to be shown because not everybody was born up on the north side. Things don't happen on the north side that happens over in Inglewood. And unless we get there and tell them that, they won't know it.
Okay. All right, Miss Marshall.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's just so wonderful to see all these beautiful faces on the screen, including yours, Brother Raymond. I want to thank you for having us on your show and allowing us this platform. And as Jackie mentioned, Maria, thank you so much as well for always wanting to bring us together. I mean, I think it's wonderful that we are not competing. You know, we're here to say that as Black women, we stand united. So once again, my name is Jenetia Marshall, and I'm running for judge in the 5th Judicial Sub-Circuit. I won't repeat the boundaries because Jackie mentioned them a little bit earlier, but what I will say is judicial sub-circuits were created to give women, minority, and people of colors an opportunity to run in and be voted on by the individuals that live in their community. So it's important now more than ever for, we're employing people to say that we now have a seat at the table. That's what it really boils down to. Oftentimes, and I think you might have mentioned it earlier, Brother Raymond, people are saying, why should we vote for judges, or why should we vote for you, or why should we trust you? But this is a new era. And I believe the women that are represented here today are women that are representing their communities. They're wanting to step forward to make a difference, to be a part of the change that they want to see. Now, for me, my background is a little different. I come from a background of public service. And for me, that's all judges are public servants. And becoming a member of the judiciary is the ultimate act of public service. I've been an attorney for almost 19 years. I began my career in education. I went from education to social work. And it was there while working in the trenches with the very same families that I seek to represent or to serve now that I looked around and realized all the litigants in the courtroom look like me, but none of the representation looked like me. So I went to law school, came back to work in the very same courtrooms with the very same families, working with issues related to domestic violence, substance abuse, mental health, economic issues. And those are the issues that judges make decisions about, or things that judges take into consideration on a daily basis. So it's very important for everyone to understand that a judge is someone that you would have the most contact with. Oftentimes people go to the polls and they're voting for congressmen or women, they're voting for the mayor or even the governor. And they're thinking, I don't know the judges, so I'll just skip that part. But that's actually more important, especially now than ever, with everything that we have going on, not just in our world, but we can all agree that we have a lot of issues going on right now in Illinois and in Chicago. Now, my father was a part of the Harold Washington administration. So as a very young girl, I was fortunate enough to have that mentorship. And so for me, I've been exposed to issues related to women, our communities, mental health at a very, very young age. So I can't remember a time where I did not volunteer doing something, whether it was mentoring, whether it was tutoring, whether it was helping with my elderly. And that's something that we all still represent today. We've all been able to show that by our body of work, by our foots on the ground in our communities today, this is not a dress rehearsal. We didn't come today, as Jackie mentioned earlier, saying vote for me because I want to be a judge. We're not coming to say, put me in a position. We're coming because we want to do the job. We want to represent the people that come before us. We want to represent them. We want to be fair. We want to be respectful. We want to be compassionate. So we're asking today that, everyone just start to do your research, and we're hoping that you keep us in mind because we are here to make a difference.
Amen. Amen. I heard that was a mouthful, and
so let me add this, Brother Raymond. Let me add this too. We are independent Democrats. I want to make that clear, meaning that the party didn't place us here, because that happens sometimes. And so you asked at the beginning, why us? Why us? Because we don't want you to be fooled into picking who they want to be on the bench to perpetuate the problems we see. It's us because we're independent. It's us because we live in the communities, we work in the communities, and we care about it. We're not just, we didn't just move in the area to run. I've lived in this area my entire life. Most of my family live in the area I'm running in my entire life and longer, for generations and generations. That's why us, right? Not somebody that moved in because they knew it was a seat available. Somebody who lives here and knows that this seat should be representative of who lives here as the sub-circuit intended. So that's another reason. And people should be mindful of that. Don't just pick the card you get with all the names and expect something different.
Well, I thank you, ladies. And that's why I had you guys on here, because I felt like y'all was coming from an independent standpoint, and that you wasn't the average pick, and y'all wasn't on the machine. Because what I've known firsthand is those who on the machine don't do for the people. And I'm just gonna keep it real, and that's how I am. And anybody know Brother Raymond, I keep it how T.I. is. I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not afraid, and I'm not ashamed of nothing. I'm gonna tell it like it is. And we are looking for that, because on this show we talk about a variety of things, and one of those things are the pen is mightier than the sword, meaning that the judges who sentence our young black boys and young ladies, they can sign their lives away with the stroke of a pen. Hey, Greg, what's going on? And so we're looking for, the people are looking for strong, independent, and heartwarming people who have passion and understand our plight. Now, we understand that people do wrong, they go to jail. I've done wrong, I went to jail. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm saying we're not talking about the crime. We're talking about some extensive time and how they throw away the key and rehabilitating, and they don't have a soul. And so I was telling them they need to be very careful when they go to vote and do their research on these judges, because these are the people who they determine the outcome of a lot of people's lives, whether it's in family court, whether it's in criminal court, civic, whatever. They have the determination, and then if they're racist, then we definitely don't stand a chance. And I tell them we're combating so much because we come in there, we're guilty by the color of our skin. That's one. For two, we're in poverty-stricken neighborhoods. And for three, we don't have the proper representation to represent us when we come in these courtrooms. And the judges and the lawyers, they already know that. So they come with the penitentiary deliverers. That's what we call public defenders. I'm sorry, y'all. That's what we call them. And they give us them, and then they do what they can do and in terms of doing deals. So I am so excited about you ladies being there. And I'm telling everybody that's on my live, on my page, you're going to have the vote number in a minute. And I want you to write this down, ladies and gentlemen. Write it down. This is what you're seeing now. It's history. It's not a mystery. It's history. And this is our Black history. It's our red form. Remember, they said Black history 365. Well, it's 365. These are well-educated sisters from the hood. Let me say that again. I don't know if y'all quite caught that. These are educated sisters from the hood, right? So they was born and raised, so they feel our plight. They feel our pain. They see what we're going through every day. And once we put them in there, they're going to change the outcome of some of this pain and misery that we've been suffering for so long due to the
crooked and broken system that we have. And I just thank you all again. And one thing I just want to ask you guys, when you came into this law, was it for something that you seen in your community? Was it inherited to you, or was it your passion, just something? Because it did. I know for me, I became an activist because I wanted to see some change. I did enough crime in the community, so I wanted to be the one to help clean up. So that's why I became an activist. So why did y'all want to become judges? I mean, lawyers. I'm sorry, y'all lawyers first. Don't all y'all chime in at the same time.
I think for me, it started really with, so when I was a little girl, and I'm sure I do it today, but I've always been told that I talk fast. So my nickname back in the day when I was a little girl was Radio. And it was because I talked so much that whenever I would get ready to talk, somebody would say, be quiet. So I was trying to get it out real fast. So I blame my family today for my fast talking. But I say that to say that for me, it's been public service. And as I said before, with me having that mentorship of Harold Washington, he would always just tell me that it's about becoming a part of something greater than yourself, a part of something that's bigger than yourself. Because if you make it and you make it alone, there's no point in that. You have to always look back to make sure you're pulling those behind you, that you're making a difference, that you have a legacy to leave behind, something you can be proud of. So for me, I kind of saw myself as a change agent. So working in education, it made me feel like, okay, I think I can better serve the families as a social worker. So then I started working in social work. And then I said, okay, I think I can better serve the families on the other side of the bench. Because even as social workers, I was going into the courtrooms and I felt like even my clients would come in and they say, oh, Miss Marshall, I'm just really worried that the judge is not going to rule in my favor today. And sometimes I wouldn't even be allowed to say anything. And I'm the one that has the contact with the family. So you would think my advocacy would matter. There'd be instances where the judge would tell me to shut up or tell me he didn't want to hear what I had to say. And to even do that in front of my client was rude because it made them feel like, at least they didn't even have the advocacy in me because I wasn't being respected as well. So it made me look at the system and see just how many judges I had gone before that I felt, just didn't have any compassion or didn't understand the struggle. And I felt like that was important. So as I said before, I started in family law and then I went to the public guardian's office. I was there representing children and families for about 14 years before I went to DCFS. We all know the department was struggling and I felt like my knowledge, background, and experience could make a difference. So for me, it was moving from one step to the other every time I felt like I could effectuate change or be a part of change or help, in some way. So looking at all the judges that we have and not feeling like the diversity is there. I think we all talked about it a little bit earlier when we talked about the need for a diverse bench. So it's not just as to race, sex, and ethnicity. It's also as to background, knowledge, experience, and understanding the struggle. So for me, that's why I actually wanted to become an attorney first and then a judge ultimately.
Okay. Maria? What's your mission, Maria?
As far as why I became a lawyer. So I'm the youngest of 11. I've got 8 older brothers. And I always tell people growing up, I saw my brothers stopped. I saw my brothers frisked. I saw them, struck because who are you? What are you doing over here? You see 8 Black men walking down the street. Unfortunately, that is seen as a threat. In some areas of town, that is seen as a crime. They will often get stopped. They would get profiled. And it still happens. Of course, it still happens. So for me, that made me want to become a lawyer. That made me want to be able to stop people. In fact, my brothers have been charged improperly before. They've been charged with things that they didn't do. So that made me want to become a lawyer. It was important to me to be able to help my family and families like mine. I knew that surely that could not have been just happening to our family. Because I would see driving down the street or riding in the car, you see people pulled over, you see people out on their cars, they're being searched, they're being frisked, they're being questioned by the police. You hear the stories and things like that. So I absolutely wanted to become a lawyer. And in fact, I'm the first one in my family to do so. So I'm very proud of that. And so I'm very focused on, making it to that next step. After, similar to Jenetia, after becoming a lawyer, you start to learn things that you're like, wow. And one of those things is that, guess what? We need representation on the bench. I had a judge tell me to shut up while I was a lawyer during a hearing and then mute the mic during Zoom court so that I couldn't object during my hearing. That's a problem. I had a judge that put on a abuse trial because my client's sides had fallen out from braids, because the daughter's sides fell out from braids. That's a problem. And that's something that a person of color would quickly recognize that wasn't abuse, because it's either happened to us before or somebody we know. It is almost impossible that you are Black and don't know somebody whose sides fell out or hair fell out from braids. It's part of the culture. So, and because I practice predominantly in family law, I see kind of how not being in these environments, not understanding our culture, I see how it is easily destroying our family. And so we have a lot of disenfranchised families that aren't able to stay together to co-parent because their relationship broke up. And that's just not fair. And that's just not a good thing for our families. It's not a good thing for our communities or our societies. And that has to stop.
All right, Ms. Brown.
Okay, I have a question, and this question is for everyone on the panel. As a prospective judge, what do you consider your greatest strength and your weaknesses?
So I'll answer that. My greatest strength is being humble. My greatest strength is seeing everybody as a person. I don't see your profession. I don't see how much money you make. I don't see any of that. I see you as a person. And so as I see it, regardless of what my profession is or your profession is, every single organization has to have multiple jobs. And obviously there are multiple pay levels, but all of those jobs are required to make that organization work. And so regardless of our professions, our titles, our degrees, we're all still people, right? So if I don't eat all day, I'm gonna be in a bad mood and be hungry, just like everybody else. If I get injured, I'm gonna feel some pain, just like everybody else. So for me, I'm always individual based. We're always dealing with individuals. No titles, no degrees, no pay salary, just individual. That's my greatest strength. Being able to take people for who they are. Greatest weakness is probably being too caring and compassionate. That can be a weakness, especially if you're dealing with a person that person's their sole intentions are bad. They're working in a negative way and they're working to do some harm or do something bad, because I'm always looking for the good in people, because my job when I get up in the morning is not to figure out, oh, well, this person's probably doing something bad. That's not what I'm looking for, because I don't live like that. So I'm hopeful that anybody I interact with is going to be trying to live that same way. They're going to be going towards the positive side of life, not necessarily the negative side of life. And that doesn't make me naive, but that makes me hopeful that people will get up and do the right thing in the morning and receive their blessings from that. That's how I live. So
I believe that my greatest strength would be my temperament. As Maria stated, we need judges up there who are able to listen. It's very important that people have a meaningful day in court. So many times I've had clients who are not willing to even exercise the constitutional right to a trial because they're afraid that the judge has already made up his or her mind. They're afraid because of the color of their skin or the town that they grew up in, that the judge has preconceived notions about him or her. So my greatest strength is you're going to have your day in court. You're going to be treated with respect. I grew up on that old adage and Bible verse, treat people the way you would want them to be treated. And I took that to heart. And I always try to treat people the way I would want to be treated. Sometimes we have judges on the bench who yield this power as though they're God, and they're not. In fact, so much is given, much is required. Yes. So because you are a judge, you have a responsibility to the community to listen to both sides before making a judgment, and also to treat the people with the same respect that you demand in your courtroom. So I think that's very important. As far as my weakness is concerned, I don't see a lot of weakness, but I will say this. I am very patient. And sometimes that may mean that the call may go a little bit longer than some people like. But as Maria stated, there shouldn't a situation where a judge is muting a defense attorney or any attorney. It shouldn't be a situation where a judge said, okay, I don't want to hear what you have to say, because we have a right to a trial. And it's that judge's responsibility to take time and to listen to everyone. So it's important that we are patient. And that's one of the reasons, if I may go back to the other question, why I became a lawyer is because in my community, I saw a lot of people who were being mistreated, a lot of people not able to afford quality representation. And I felt like, okay, I can give them that. It actually goes back, and I may be dating myself, to a movie that I saw. It was called As Good as It Gets with Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase. And in that movie, Goldie Hawn was a lawyer. And this wasn't the premise of the movie, but this is what stood out to me, is that not only did she help her clients who were normally defendants in criminal cases, but she also made sure that they had opportunities in the communities. She would employ them. So it's our job, and I think Jackie stated it earlier, as when she was a judge, is to make sure that she gave opportunities to people, gave them vehicles in which they could better themselves. And we can do that as a judge, and we have a responsibility to do that. And that has always impressed me. It has always made me want to be a judge and to also want to be an attorney, so I can be able to give back to my community and help them any way that I can. Because I know if it wasn't for my community, the South Side of Chicago, the Wild Wild Hundreds, I would not be who I am today.
You know, Brother Raymond, I agree. My biggest strength is also one of the reasons that I pursued becoming a lawyer. My love and my compassion for not only my people, but for all people. Growing up in Inglewood, I saw a lot of stuff. A lot of things that just did not look right to me. I was too young to know that it wasn't right at the time, but the older I got, I started to see a pattern that these things didn't take place in other areas. So why was some areas treated differently than others? Why could some people get away with this over on this side of town, but you couldn't get away with it over on that side of the town? And when I went to court, I didn't see people that looked like us. I didn't see us. And that was amazing to me, that there were so many of us in the building, especially at 26 in California, but yet there were very few judges who looked like us, who knew what we were going through from a day-to-day basis. And when I learned what a judge's job was, to give justice, to get to the truth, to show compassion, to be lenient when it was called for, I honestly didn't want to become a lawyer. I wanted to go straight and become a judge, but I was told you got to become a lawyer before you can become a judge. So I said at a very young age, you know what? Okay, I'll become a lawyer, because where I wanted to be is in the big seat that helped our people to try to correct a lot of wrongs that were being taken place in the community. And when I was a judge and I had lawyers coming in front of me, I treated all lawyers with respect. I treated all of the individuals that came in front of me with compassion. I remembered their names, their mothers' names, how many children they had. I remembered all the little nicks and crannies about them, because I wanted them to know I was just not a 9-to-5 judge. I just wasn't up here to find you guilty. That was not my job. My job, and part and parcel, was to try to figure out what the root of the issue was. Because if you can figure out what the foundation, where the crack is in the foundation, we can put some semen in it. We can heal it. We can secure it. We can make it better. And that's how you start to mend the community. You have to put out the right resources for the individuals. And the programs I ran, that's what we did. If you needed a GED, we sent you to GED classes. If you had substance abuse issues, we sent you to substance abuse. Young ladies who had lost their children to DCFS, we hooked you up and we made liaisons to help you get your children back. Sending people to jail is not the answer. Unfortunately, it is something that happens from time to time, but we have to put other measures in place so that when they come out, they have something to do other than returning back to that same status quo. Now, if you can hear it in my voice, the passion that I have for my people, some people will say it is a weakness of mine as well, because I care so much. I would start my day at 7 o'clock in the morning. I would be the last judge to leave the building, the first one there, the last one to leave. When I found out that one of the individuals in front of me had a death in their family, I went to the wakes. If I found out they had a baseball game, I went to the baseball game. If I found out that they were a singer or they were a musician and they had a set that night, I bought a ticket. As well as I would get the attorneys to come also. I'm like, because I don't want there to be any issues, if there's any ex parte communications going on. You all come with me. I'll buy your tickets. Let's go and let's support them, because they need to see that we care. We're not just throwing them away. And that is that. And some people perceive that to be a weakness because I care too much. But if that's a weakness, I'll accept that, because I do care. And it's time for us to make a change, a serious change within not only our community, but the education of what takes place in our community, and to give us the tools to make our community even better.
Amen. Miss Marshall.
Hello there. So, had a lot of time to think. I don't think I'd ever really thought about it like that. But in terms of strength, I would have to say that that I'm resilient, and that's a strength. And I say that because in the field that I work in, family law, I've dealt with a lot of vicarious trauma. I've had to make a lot of very important decisions in the lives of people, and those decisions can be difficult sometimes, but you have to make them. Currently, I serve as the statewide compliance administrator for DCFS. So I do special reviews of cases involving mandated reporters and childcare workers. So I make decisions on a daily basis about whether or not someone's going to be able to work in their profession for the next 5, potentially to 50 years, which are really, really difficult decisions to make. But it's about being able to balance the protection of our young people with the due process rights of those who choose to care for them. And those are very, it's a very serious job to take. I don't look at it lightly, but it makes it difficult. But no matter what, I keep coming back. No matter what I've witnessed in any of my professions, working directly with families and being a part of their trauma and seeing things happen that are, just not really good things. No matter what, I keep coming back because I want to be helpful. I want to make a difference. I want to be able to look back and say, I made a difference in their life. But I guess on the flip side of that, I might be a helper to a fault. And I say that because, we all want to see the best in somebody else, or we want to see the good in people. It's just natural to want to see the good in people. So sometimes I may beat myself up because I would hope that things could go a different way. But when it boils down to it, a judge's primary responsibility is to protect the public. So that could mean that there are going to be times where you have to be tough on crime. There could be times where you are able to be lenient or to offer an alternative when one does exist. But it doesn't mean that you won't think about it the next day. It doesn't mean that you won't think about it the next week. It doesn't mean that you might not wonder how your decision affected some estranged member of the family that we may not have even thought of while making a decision. So I would have to say being resilient is my strength, but on the flip side of it, being a helper to a fault is my weakness.
Okay. All right. Come on, shit. Come on.
Greg?
Come on, Miss Robinson. Give me some.
I stated before what my weakness was.
Oh, you did.
What about
before going any further, Greg? Who is it? Where did you come from, Greg?
Can't hear him.
Can't hear you on mute.
I do apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I'm a supporter of these women, and I want to see Black women thrive in our communities and heal our communities. And I believe that is what I've been doing. I'm a lifelong learner, and I believe I help where I can. That's my philosophy.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I got one more question and I'm out of here.
All right, Katie Lowe.
Okay, I hate to drop this ball, but I'm gonna drop the ball and then I'm leaving the screen.
Okay.
So you want to be a judge. You want to sit on the bench and enforce the laws. We live in a society where there's a set of laws that are written on the book that when it pertains to people of color, those laws have a different meaning. Not written, but implied. And we all know it to be true. You can't hide. Once you become judge, how will you enforce, I call them the 21st century black code? Because that's what they are. They are not written for us. They are written for somebody else. And we always get the butt of the stick, or however you want to call it, when our people of color get in trouble and go before the judge. You're always the ones with the problem. Tell me, how will you, as a judge, carry out these laws that are on this book and make them fair and equal to all?
What? Well, hold on, Katie. Let's redirect that. Okay, let us redirect that question. I'll give it to you in a minute. Okay, we have to redirect that question.
Why?
It's a reason. It's a reason. It's twofold. Okay. It's twofold. But what are the pros and cons of going to the bench as compared to practicing law?
As a judge, you're able to make a difference in more people's lives. I believe there's more people who will come before you. So that's why I believe Jackie said she wanted to go straight to being a judge because it was so many people. It's so many people that we see who are a victim of this unequal justice. And it's our goal to make sure that there's equal justice, that people who look like us, the people who from the same side of town that we're on are getting the same justice that they're getting on the other side of town, and the same justice that people who don't look like us are getting. So we know as judges, we're able to affect a lot of people's lives more than just our clients to come before us. Because as judges, not only will I hear cases that Maria practice would have had, or Jackie's practice would have had, or Miss Marshall's practice would have had, I would have an opportunity to hear all of those cases and to make a difference in all of those lives and to make sure that everybody receives equal justice.
Okay. You've been real quiet, Sister Maria. Come on, give me something, man. Give me something.
That's because the dogs are barking.
I know,
My dogs are barking. That's why I muted.
They're hungry. Gotta feed them.
So, I forgot your question because I got distracted. I thought somebody was at my front door.
I said, what are the pros and cons of going to the bench as compared to practicing law?
Absolutely. So when you're practicing law, you have a position. So you have a position, right? You either represent the state, or you represent the petitioner, or the plaintiff and the respondent, or the defendant, or the city. You have a position. So you're hoping the judge will buy into your position and rule in your favor, right? And you're hoping that the judge will make a fair, just, and equitable ruling. That's your hope. That's what you get up in the morning hoping that happens for your case.
Okay.
For the most part. If you're on the bench, though, your job is different. You don't have a position. Your job is to preside over the case, be fair, give the person or persons their day in court, and make a fair ruling and apply the law. That's your sole job. So I know Ms. Lowe asked a question about how we sometimes get the short end of the stick. And guess what? We don't live in a bubble. It's not as if we don't understand that. We live in the communities. We see people get the short end of the stick. We see our clients do it. We see other people in the courtroom that happens to. But remember, you have to actively go out and push forward change too, right? We're all doing that by running, right? So then that means your job, and I'm big on everybody's job, right? That means your job, if you want something different, is to vote something different. And then you will see a difference. Don't keep voting for the same person because they got the check mark next to their name on the mailer you got, or because they had that little circle that says this is who we pick, and expect something different. You keep picking who they pick, you're gonna keep giving what they give you. So
say that
that's
again.
the difference.
Would you say that again?
You keep picking who they pick, then you're gonna keep giving what they give you. So don't expect something different to happen when you keep picking the same thing. And don't and I'm not one people, and it happens to me all the time when I'm out campaigning. Oh, I don't know you. You don't know Biden either. All right, you didn't know the governor.
What's up, man?
You don't know. So stop and get to know the people and figure out who's going to align with what you're looking for. Who's going to be caring about the community because they lived in it, because they grew up in it, right? And who still lives in it. Because I ran into a guy the other day while I was campaigning that said, oh, you represented my ex-wife against me, but I'm going to vote for you because you was cool. I have to live here. So I can't do something that's not proper because somebody's going to see me. They're going to see me at the gas station. They're going to see me at the grocery store. They're going to see me at the car wash. So if I have to live with you, I'm going to do the right thing. Just like in your house, you got to live with them people. So you're going to make sure you do the right thing. Now your neighbors might do something different because they ain't got to come live in your house. Yeah. But I can't do that. I have to do what's right by my community because they're going to run into me. I like ribs too. They're going to see me at the rib place. Or the chicken place. I like chicken too. So that's, you have to be realistic and stop saying, oh, I want something different. I want something different. Oh, but I don't know you. I don't know the other. You don't know any of us, but get to know us so you can know that we align with what you're looking for. And then wait for the change to happen. Because the big thing is this, and I tell people this all the time. If you appear in front of somebody and the only connection they have is what they've seen on the news, they don't necessarily see our kids as kids. They don't necessarily see us as people. They see what they see on the news. And now you have a defendant in front of you that seems consistent with the guys you saw on the news last night. Your ruling is probably going to reflect that. Versus, hey, yeah, that's Daryl. He just acts crazy. He's not actually crazy. Or, hey, that's Derek. He's a criminal. There's a difference. You have to know the difference. And you have to stop relying on the party to tell you who to vote for.
All right. So I'm gonna ask this question. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night thinking about a case wishing you have handled something differently? If so, please describe one situation.
So for me, I don't know that I would say that I have a lot of that where I don't necessarily think that I wish I had decided differently or made a different decision. But I feel bad about the decision that I made, and not because it was a bad decision, but because the decision is going to affect the person that I made the decision about. It's hard to say. So it's going to affect them, and I feel bad about it. So let's say, I'll give you a random example. So, because I don't know that a lot of people understand what I do. So let's say you're a grandmother. And not only are you a grandmother, you also work for a hospital in the children's pediatric department as an occupational therapist. Okay. So let's say you work as an occupational therapist with kids, but you're also a grandmother. Now, let's say you're babysitting your grandchild, and your grandchild happens to slip out of the door while you're cooking dinner. You don't notice that your grandchild slipped out. You don't notice for the next 3 hours, let's just say. And this grandchild happens to only be 6 years old. So let's say for the next 3 hours, you're cooking dinner, you're preoccupied, you don't realize that your grandchild just slipped out. You're thinking that the grandchild is potentially playing in another room with an older kid or something. So you're thinking the grandchild is there. Okay. You get a knock on your door 3 hours later, and somebody says, do you know a little boy in a red jumpsuit and blue boots? And you're like, that's my grandson. Long story short, while you're cooking dinner, your grandson slips out of the house. He gets hit by a car, and unfortunately he dies, right? but you were the one acting in the child care role. So you were responsible for your grandson. So I feel bad indicating you, which is the word, and now you can't practice in your profession, and this is what you've done your entire life. So now you can't work in this field for the next 20 years, let's just say, because of what happened to your grandson. So it's not even something that has to happen on the job. But for anyone that works with kids and they're in mandated reporter roles or childcare roles, whatever they do, it affects not just their household, but it affects their profession. So instances like that, I feel bad because, of course, I've got a grandmother who's grieving the loss of her grandchild. So I feel bad about that. I'm only human. But at the end of the day, in terms of a lot of other factors that play into it, that grandmother is going to be indicated because of her actions. Now, let's say it had been something that happened and the kid was missing for 15 minutes, or something less than that. Then there's some things you can, do with that. You can look at it. You can take certain things into consideration. But when it's all said and done, for a child to have been missing for 3 hours who's only 6 years old and for you not to notice it, there are a lot of factors that go into that. And it's a decision that I have to make. So it's not that it was necessarily a bad decision, but it's a decision that I feel bad about because I'm human. And but I have to, as you said before, you have to stick to the rules. So there's certain rules that are laid out, and then there are instances where you have gray area where you might be able to play some other factors into it to try to come to a different decision. But when it's all said and done, you don't know this person personally, so those are things you can't take into consideration. You're looking at the law, you're looking at the facts, and you have to make a decision. And sometimes you don't have that wiggle room when certain things are egregious in nature, which is the same thing that would happen as a judge if you're on the bench and you have to make a decision, to protect the public, but it's a decision that has to be made. Some people can't be rehabilitated. So I think it's, that kind of lines up the same way.
All right. Ms. Robinson, did I hear you say that you've been in the field for how many years?
25 years.
And in the 25 years, what have greatly affected you? Looking in the Black and brown community, what have greatly affected you?
What has greatly affected me, and one of the reasons why I am running for judge, is how our judges treat people from my community and people who look like me. That affects me. That makes me want to work even harder for the people who I represent. I believe that I give everyone 100%, but when I see a judge that's on the bench who's willing to disregard to the law so they can pretty much rule or put into place their own biases, then I say within myself, I have to work harder for my client to let that judge know that we won't stand for that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm running for judge. So I've seen that over 25 years. And yes, we have more diversity on the bench than we had 25 years ago, but there are still places that I go outside of Cook County, and I am the only person that look like me in my role. I can see people sitting in the gallery who look like me, but the judges, the attorneys, the personnel, none of the court personnel look like me. I'm the only African American in the courtroom. I'm the only African American female in the courtroom. And that has to change. We need a different perspective on the bench. We need diversity on the bench. We need people on the bench who, as Maria stated, can relate to your situation because they know your culture. So that has truly affected me, but I think in a good way because it makes me want to work harder. It makes me not only want to work harder as an attorney, but as an activist in the community, making sure we also do expungement seminars, making sure the records of our African-American males and females who may have made one mistake when they were 17 or 18, and they still have this thing on their background that's preventing them from getting into the career they want to get into, that I can offer those services for free. And I can get all my attorneys friends together and we can come together and offer this service to them for free. Because even though it's supposed to be something that you can do without an attorney, a lot of people get confused with that if then that, and if then that. So that makes us want to work harder in the community, in the juvenile detention center, when we go visit our young children to make sure that they make different choices when they come out. So that's effective me, because I see so many people that look like me who are a victim of the system, and they're not getting the benefits that they should get.
Amen. Well, Nicole Turner said it's time for change. And my daughter said, Nicole Turner is my fiance, and my daughter said she hope y'all get that position. So people are listening. So Sister Brown, you've been on the bench before. What would you do now that you didn't do then?
I would seek more programs like the one that I chaired and I presided over, because the program that I presided over really did rehabilitate the young men and women that came in front of me. It gave them a reason to do something other than what they were doing before. It put them in a positive situation, meaning, you know, we made sure that we reached out to organizations and jobs and tried to convince them to hire some of the ex-offenders. Because if you're an ex-offender and no one wants to hire you, then how can you ever get a job? So we reached out to and partnered with a lot of businesses who took a chance and hired them. And they came back and they showed us the certificates and they did all of these wonderful things. So unfortunately, and I'm trying to say it properly, not everyone who say they want change really want change. And I'm meaning those powers that are in place. And I say that because as wonderful as the programs I ran were, all programs have to run by money. And unfortunately, although the programs were above what they expected, the funds were withdrawn. And even after the funds were withdrawn from the program, a lot of the people, because I had built such great relationships with the communities, they continued to give us the services for as long as they could. And then at some point, you know, they had to salvage their lives and their businesses as well and couldn't continue. So when I get back on the bench and I'm speaking it into existence, just like everybody else is, when I get back there, we all need to continue this collaboration of women, and we need to work in unity to create more programs and more court calls and more rehabilitative services to also infiltrate what's going on in the court system, because we need more than just coming to court and being sent home. We need some serious help out there. So when I get back there, I'm going to be happy that I have 3 other ladies, myself included, 4 with me, that will be driven towards making more changes and creating more opportunities for true rehabilitation and reintroduction back into the community where we all live. Because the 4 of us, like Maria said, we live here. I come home to my house every day, and I want to see the people in my neighborhood continue to thrive and become all that they can be.
Amen. Amen. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. My daughter said she loved it. She loved what she's hearing. It's the viewers are loving what they're hearing. Y'all are hitting these questions and knocking them out the ballpark. And I'm so grateful. Again, I salute you, Queens, you know, for coming on my show. And I just want to know, because I know from me being a male in the Black and brown communities, coming from poverty-stricken neighborhoods, I was born and raised on the north side in Cabrini Green. So I was the only part of the north side that they said was terrible. Everything else was plus, right? And so we were discriminated against quite often, and even to this day we are. And believe it or not, with all the work that I do, ladies, they're still trying to marginalize me by what I did in my past, right? I am one of the ones who coined phrase the term returning citizen, so that we don't call each other ex-con, because the ex is unknown and the convict is still doing time. And if I'm sitting here with you, I am neither. And I appreciate if you don't address me. This is what I told y'all state legislators about 10 years ago. So having you sisters on the bench will provide a lot of inspiration and hope, not only to the brothers, but the young girls that look up to y'all, that don't see the same people as she see that the same color as her. She don't see them on the bench.
Mhm.
Now she don't even hardly see them in the courtrooms because people don't even understand that you sisters are educated. Y'all went to school. Y'all did what y'all need to do, and so therefore, by y'all being on this bench, whether it's family law, civil, real estate, whatever it is, they will know that they too can, because a lot of inspiration is drawn from our community. Our sisters think that they can't do nothing other than what they're doing, and you sisters are showing them, yes, you can, but you got to be dedicated in doing it. So I just take my hat off to y'all for that. And now I'm going to get to another question. And we're going to kick it, y'all. So let's have some fun. You can let your hair down. It's okay. If you got to take it off or whatever, I don't know. But
so Brother Raymond, let me say this.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I think you said your daughter, she's like, yeah, she wants to hear it. Make sure that she shares the information. Make sure that she's impressing upon the people, that anybody that comes in her circle, anybody in her phone, tell them to vote. Tell them to vote. You can't just like it and clap for us. And I'm not saying her. I'm saying in general. Don't clap for us. Vote for us.
Yes. And
That's
unfortunately, she's in Minnesota, but she'll have her friends in Chicago to vote for y'all. I'm quite sure she'll do that. Ain't that right, darling? Why don't you do that for Daddy?
And tell her she could come on up and work the polls for us, because we'll need help.
Yes.
We're going to need help.
She said, yes, she will. She said, yes, she will.
Yes.
Too.
And Lori Williams said, great job, sisters. And she said, yes, she will.
Come on.
Say, yes, she
Come
will.
on.
You know, her daddy's an advocate, so she believes in that. And we do know that it will change something. And that's why we're telling everybody why it's live. My partner, Katie Lowe, she's telling people to share this, because believe it or not, this is historical. Where have you seen this? You know, where have you seen this? You don't see this all the time. Well, four dynamic sisters get together and they're going for pushing a movement. And guess what? One thing that you told me, Sister Maria, you said, and ain't nobody in nobody's way.
That's right.
Nope.
So that's the beauty of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if y'all hearing this. We're about to make history. And this is not a crab in a barrel syndrome. So we're not pulling each other down. They're not pulling each other down. They're lifting each other up. I hope y'all get this. And this, if y'all don't get nothing else, get the uplifting that these sisters are doing with each other versus, hating. So we ain't doing that. We loving on each other. They encouraging each other. And they all going to that bench. And when they get on that bench, they're going to make a difference. So we need y'all, everybody in Chicago, all my Chicago people, y'all get out, and at the end, they're going to give y'all their number, and I'm going to have it all on my pages. And so y'all go out and y'all vote for these sisters, and let's make sure these sisters get in, because we don't want the same old. Because it says, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to always get. We want something different. If we want something different, these are the sisters that's going to bring something different. So now let me get to another question. Y'all crazy. Y'all ain't going to bother me now. I'm loving it. Under what circumstances can the court seal? No, we don't do that. I don't like that. Do you believe there's a such thing as victimless crime? If so, what offense would you place in that category?
So we can't take a position like that. We have to apply the law as it's written. So regardless of how we feel personally, we have to apply the law to the facts in the case. Okay. So we can't take a position like that.
All right. Okay. What do you believe the current system for disciplining lawyers and judges is effective? Do you believe the current system for disciplining lawyers and judges is effective? Why or why not? Or is that another question that's
I don't even know if we can take a position on that. Probably not, but I don't know the answer to that. Thank God I haven't.
Okay. How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar areas of the law?
I don't take cases that are unfamiliar areas of the law. that is the door to malpractice, and that is the door to some lawsuits and things like that I don't want to be involved in. So I don't concern myself with areas of the law that I don't practice. When people call me with promises of pay for this area because it's an easy case, I'm like, why can't you do it yourself if it's that easy? That's not my practice area. I don't concern myself with that.
Okay. We refer those cases out.
Right.
To people who practice in that area. I say, oh, I don't do that, but guess what? Let me give you a phone number, and maybe that person can help you.
Yeah. I'm with you. Now, how many of y'all on your days off? And this is just a practical question. That go and knock on doors.
Days off.
Oh, what's a day off?
Don't get that.
Let me take that. There is no days off.
Define that.
What's a day off? What's that?
I'm not familiar with that term.
Y'all caught that. Okay, they caught. Maybe they want to. I ain't think they're gonna catch that. That's how sharp they is. They caught that. So on a day-to-day basis, knocking on doors, because I know a lot of people who campaign. And they say, vote for me, I'll set you free. But we don't see them in the communities. We don't see them knock on no doors. We don't see them at no meetings. Only time we see them is when it's the polls is out, and then they want to come from pole to pole, showing their face and waving and doing a fake smile and all that. So how many of you, because this is for the viewers, that let them know we go out and we knock on doors, we pass out our literature, we be at events. I know now. One thing I can credit, I called Maria, and Maria was at an event, and she was like, I'm at an event right now. So how many of you sisters that go out and go door to door and attend events in order to keep pushing it? Because we have to remember, that's the only way we can get it. We got to hustle. We got to roll our sleeves up and hustle. So how many of you is out knocking on doors and passing out your literature along with your volunteers?
Well, Brother Raymond, I'll speak. I go out at every opportunity that I can get. And I'm not just going out because I'm a judge. I was knocking on doors before then. There are senior neighbors that live near me. I'll knock on their doors. Hey, do you need something from the store? Especially during COVID. I checked on my neighbors. I checked on the people around me. This is just not get to know me because I'm running for judge. But to answer your question, I'm knocking every day. Not only am I knocking, I have two twin toddlers. I put them in a stroller and they walk the streets with me as I'm knocking on doors and handing out literature and attending events. I do very good until we go past the park. And then when they see the park, I got to stop for the swings. So I'm doing it at every opportunity that I can, because that's how I was raised, on grassroots. You get out there, you meet the people. How do you know what the people need until you get out there and meet the people? Exactly. How do you know what the people need until you talk to the people? How do you know what the people need unless you interact in the areas where the people are? That's what makes us different judges, because we're from these communities. We live in these communities. We work in these communities. We walk the streets of these communities, and we bring all of that with us when we come to the bench.
All right. Go ahead, Sister Marshall. I see you. You want to get in there?
Sure. Of course, we don't want to give away our strategy and be very specific on your show, because we know there's a lot of people listening. But for the listeners, absolutely anything that I can do to get out there. As Jackie said, it's about going back to the grassroots days. It was actually kind of ironic, because when it was time to get signatures, we had a shortened period of time, and it was freezing cold. Nobody wanted to stop for you. Nobody wanted to answer their doors. Yes. There's a lot going on now with people, home invasion. So it's not really safe, which is, understandably so. Right. But absolutely going door to door, meeting people. Once it gets a little bit nicer, lots more people are outside. So that'll be even better, because we're able to not necessarily have to get them to open their door, because people are fearful of that nowadays. But anything that I can do to get myself out there, and you still get I don't know you, but my whole point is that's why I'm here. I'm knocking on your door for you to get to know me. I'm knocking on your door. So if there's a question you like to ask, you can ask it. And you know what, believe it or not, I get a lot of phone calls from people who have picked up my flyers, or even get people that I know inboxing me or texting me saying, look what I found at my front door today. So, and I think it's absolutely, important that the candidate, when they can, to be out there with the people, because most people want to meet the candidate. Most people want to see that the judges are not above, or those running for judge are not above actually getting out there, walking the streets, knocking the doors, walking the stairs, doing the work. And I think doing the work is what matters. And I think doing the work in the end is what's going to assist us all here on your panel today in being victorious.
Amen.
With God's
Amen.
look, with God's help and God's work.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm sorry, y'all. That's it. So, and another, I'm just, coming through that system, there was times where I was like, where are we? I look around the courtrooms, as you guys stated, and I would say, where are we? Do I look like I'm just this vicious person that would do something, or maybe I made that mistake, but didn't have the right proper presentation? That's why we call public defenders penitentiary deliverers. We have no trust, and it may not be all of them, but we don't have any trust in them because it's been a known fact that they do deals with the state's attorney. So, it's like, so when we go in there actually seeing what we can do in order to get lesser time. And I think that's sad versus, because we know they ain't gonna represent us to the fullest. So we go in there and looking at how we can get the lessest time. And that's been so sad. So we have so many people threw their life away because they had no faith in their representative, which was their lawyer. And so they just copped out. So I thank you, ladies. I really thank you for your time, and in your own words, what do you think that it'll take in order for some change to come in our Black and brown communities? Starting with you, Ms. Robinson.
So I believe we've all said it. If we want to see change, we have to do something different. Mm-hmm. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. So we need to start by changing the things we do with our votes. So when we're voting, we want to make sure we're not just voting the way people are telling us to vote, or just because we receive a card in the mail. We want to make sure that we vote for people who align to our values, align to the things that we want to be seen done. Also, if we want to make a change in the community, we have to work in the community where we want the change to be. So when you talked about us, are we out there knocking on doors? And I started thinking, well, we're already working in the community. So we're already going to those meetings, not because we're just seeking votes, but because we live in those communities, because we're concerned about the people that look like us. We're concerned about the things that are happening in our community. So if we want to make a change in our community, let's start volunteering in our community. Let's start going to those neighborhood meetings. Let's start seeing what we need to do to bring about a change. And let's make sure that our vote counts. And so when you go vote, don't just vote for the person at the top of your ballot, because a lot of times people get to those judges and they skip them. But those are the people who are going to make decisions in your lives. Those are the people you're most likely to have an encounter with, whether it's a traffic ticket, whether it's family law, whether it's a personal injury case, and they're making decisions about our money, about our children, and about our freedom. And we want to make sure those people who are making those decisions are people who are working in the community trying to make a change, are people who are from our community and from a diverse background, so we can bring diversity to the bench and a change to the bench.
All right. Now, we've all heard all the great questions from these candidates. Now, what do you expect from us besides the vote? I know y'all want us to vote for y'all, but what else can the communities do in order to help in this in the change that you guys want? What can the community do? Because I know we all sit there and we say, well, the judge is this, the lawyer is that, the police this and that, but often and not enough do we hear what the community can do. Because I know, like, you guys need volunteers, you know, like press, you know, people, you put people on the shows. What can we do in order to help change the dynamics of what's going on besides voting? We know voting is one, ladies and gentlemen, but if you can go out, we're going to get the information, and if you can volunteer, we ask that you can volunteer, and if you can tell somebody else about these dynamic sisters, we ask that you do so, because in the end of the day, we all help each other. One hand wash the other and both wash the face. A Facebook user said it seems difficult to learn enough about the judges to make an informed decision. You are absolutely right, because they put them judges on there in about the time to run, so we don't know. And then sisters like these that's running, you don't hear from them, because at the end of the day, who wants it? They don't want that. They want their partners. It's a buddy system. It's a political machine that they go every time, and they put, like they say, they have one big card, and they'll pass you the card and say, vote for everybody on this card. And you don't even know them. So we building a relationship right now with these candidates so that you will know, and they have bios that you can read, and in their areas, as you'll hear about, you can go and see for yourself what they're doing and how they're doing it, and that can determine whether or not if you vote for them or not. Because at the end of the day, like she said, we don't know Biden. We had never seen Biden in our life. Pritzker, I knew Jean Pritzker, his sister, but I never knew him, and we voted for him. So we don't have to personally know them in order to know that we're looking for a change, and change is right here, as you see, ladies and gentlemen. And we just asking y'all to come on down and get involved and do that. Yes.
It's about that whole it takes a village concept, being able to go back to that concept where you just mentioned it's about, helping each other. Every one of us here, we either have telephone numbers that you can call us on, or emails that you can email us on, or websites that you can go to. It gives you an opportunity to learn more about us, to learn about the things that you would not necessarily see today. And when you think about it, it is difficult to vote for judges or to make an informed decision because we don't have that sort of information. But there are a lot of tools online that will give you that same information related to a judge where you can go and, take a look for yourself. But I submit to you that one of the reasons why we've opened ourselves up, one of the reasons why we attempt to appear on as many platforms as we can, is because we want to give the voters an opportunity to get to know us. So the same way we're saying don't necessarily just vote for a card that comes in the mail with 50 names for people that you don't know or you've never seen.
Yes.
We're saying do your research. We're saying that we presented ourselves to you today and many other instances before now as an open book, asking for your support, asking for your vote, asking for your help, and asking that you go on and take that second look at us. I know for me, my website is Marshall, 4, judge2022.com. You can go to my website and it has the bio that Brother Raymond just mentioned, all of the information related to me. There's a way to sign up and volunteer. There's a way to become a part of this mission, even with the Facebook page, Jenetia Marshall, Jenetia, last name Marshall, the political page. You can go there. You can actually see what I'm doing in the community. You can see what I'm doing online. You can see what I do on a daily basis. And of course, my punch number is all over the place. And my punch number is punch number 192.
Okay. Maria?
So, my punch number is 191. So keep in mind, Jenetia, Jackie, and myself, we're in different races. So I have an opponent whose punch number is 192. And Jenetia has an opponent whose punch number is 191. And Jackie may have an opponent whose punch number is 191 as well. So make sure.
Say that again, Sister Maria, so the viewers can hear. Did you hear that? Listen, What she's
saying. So you want to make sure you remember the punch number, but you need to remember the name too, because we're in different races. So they're running in the 5th sub-circuit in 2 different races. I'm running in the 1st sub-circuit. And so my opponent has a punch number that's 192. Janita's opponent has a punch number that's 191. Jackie may have an opponent whose punch number might be 191 as well. So you want to remember the name and the punch number to make sure that you're voting for the correct person, that the correct candidate that you are attempting to vote for. And as far as what we need people to share this information. We need people to vote and come volunteer. You know, I'm the one that said, hey, people are like, oh, well, I don't know this person. Come on, volunteer. Come on, get to know me. Because I don't send people out who don't know me to go volunteer for me. They can come volunteer with me, and then they can see who I am. I don't just send people. I don't meet people on the street and let them go speak for me. I don't do that. The only person I let go out and speak for me when I'm not there are friends and family members. And it's usually my mother, because can't nobody speak for me like my mom.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
So I'm very big on that. It's my brothers. It's my fiance. It's somebody that knows me so they can speak for me. If you're a volunteer that I've met along the way because you liked what I had to say on my platform, you're going to come volunteer with me. So you'll get to know me. You'll get to know what I'm about. And the truth of the matter is this. The area that I'm running in, I lived there my whole life. My siblings all live there. So when I went knocking door to door in the dead of winter, people opened up their doors to me. People invited me, and not every person, obviously, because it's the dead of winter and it's freaking COVID, but people still were very receptive. And many of them like, oh, I know you. Oh, I went to school with your brother. Oh, my cousin went to school with such and such. So a lot of them I already know. And some of them I've represented before. I've knocked on doors. I called a client. She was like, I heard you were running. I got to call everybody. So my clients are doing the work too. Why? Because they know the value in having someone like me on the bench. Guess what? That's important. That's important for somebody who's experienced me way before I even decided to run, to want to stop, take time out of their day and away from their family to go tell somebody else, make sure you vote for this person so they get on the bench. Make sure that you understand that this is an important person that we need. And so I have that, as well as the support from friends, family, and the community. People have to show up, vote, text the people in your phone. Guess what? Just like the little goofy memes we text and then the TMZ stories, share this like you do that. Share this like you do that. Share this like you shared that $397 check. Post this like you do that. All right, let this go viral so that we can get the change we seek in Cook County. And guess what? Once people see this and they see what it takes to make a change, other people will do it. I didn't just think this up one night, like, oh, let me put together. It just so happened that a lot of Black women were running and we were in different races, and it only makes sense to come together and push us all forward so we can all win. It's strength in numbers. And that's why the party is successful, because they're very strong and they have the numbers.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Facebook user, I appreciate your responding to my question regarding the judges. It helps. See, it's working. It's working already, y'all. It's working already. So go ahead, Ms. Robinson, talk to us.
So I definitely agree. If you want to help us get on the bench, for me personally, you can go to my website, www.electchelsey.com. I can also be reached at electchelsey@gmail.com. It's very important that you share the information. So the information that you're receiving when you go to our website, follow us, like our posts, share our posts, tell your friends and family to share, because we have to get the word out. It's very important, as Maria said, I'm running countywide. So I have to get the word out to everybody in Cook County. My punch number is 181. So when you go to my website, when you go to my Facebook page, elect Chelsey R. Robinson for judge, share that information. Follow us. When you get our little, when you get our information, our card, please take a picture of it, take a photo of it, put it in your group text message. Make sure everybody knows, because we want people to know. And then they can go on our website, they can contact us, and they can get to know us. So that's the way you can help. And as Maria said on the website, and Jenetia said on our website, normally we have a page where you can volunteer, and that information comes directly to us, and we will respond. And while we're out there, we're giving you our cards, our telephones, our numbers, so you can contact us. So the most important thing now is grind time, is to make sure that we're known, make sure that people know who we are. They're on our website. So share. Share with everybody you know, your family, your friends, your church members. You can even
your enemies.
Yes.
We ask y'all this. Do y'all have yard signs?
We do.
Okay.
I just got my yard signs in today. I got 150 of them that I already do out because people been contacting me. They wanted them. So I have 150 of them that I already promised. So we do have yard signs, and people can request them or pick them up.
And what's your website, Miss Barlow?
Mine's is Maria Barlow for Judge. The number 4. I'm sorry, not the number 4, the word 4 for judge.com. Maria Barlow for judge.com.
And if you leave us your address, we'll come by and put a sign in your yard and leave our literature at your door as we knock, so you know that we're there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
Again, I'm Jackie Portman Brown. I'm running for the 5th Judicial Sub-Circuit in the Shelley vacancy. So me and Ms. Marshall are not against each other. You can vote for both of us. My number is 196. I can be reached at www.jackieportman.com. You can look at me on Facebook. You can look for me on Twitter at Jackie Marie Portman Brown, and you can check out my campaign website as well. And like the other ladies have already shared, the information is there, how you can volunteer, how you can get involved. And I tell people this, just like we're getting involved, we need other people to get involved. You may not want to be a lawyer. You may not want to be a judge, but whatever it is that you can do, get involved to help our community. This is our house. If we don't stand up for our house, who's going to stand up? We have to stop expecting others to come in and save us. Let's start saving ourselves. And that takes a lot of work. But it takes a lot of dedicated women, as such as you see here today. We're willing to dedicate our legal profession to go further, to get to the bench, to make some more changes that are needed, and then raise up people behind us to make even more changes after us. So share this information. As Maria said, share it with your enemies. We don't care as long as it gets shared. We just need it to get shared so that people know they have options and not just the big loan card with all the names. There are other people out there running, other people that are from you, that know you, and you know them, and they are a part of you. Help to put us in place on election day and at the moment that you are making those choices. And like Maria said, just don't look at the number. Remember the names, because those are also some tricks to the trade. How is it that in different races, the same numbers are repeating? Because they're hoping some people just might punch a number as opposed to looking at the name. And if you can't remember Jackie Marie Portman Brown, because that's long, just remember Jackie Brown. And
Jackie
for those
Brown.
that
are a friend named Jackie Brown.
Exactly. You'll remember that. So remember Jackie Brown and all of these ladies that are here today, because we are from your community. We will continue to be in your community because we are our own communities.
Amen. And I just want to say that, this is awesome, and that these names stick out, Barlow, Robinson, Marshall, and so I want all of you guys that's out there listening. First of all, I want to get all their cards, and they put them on the page. Katie Lowe, get them and put them on the page so that they'll have every candidate on my page, and they'll have the right info, correct info, so they can go and vote, because we're serious about this. I'm so dedicated, and y'all don't even know I'm in Texas.
Oh, wow.
I'm in Houston, Texas, making sure that y'all get y'all pool in Chicago, because that's my base, because I'm from Chicago. So I told Katie Lowe, I was like, we're going to get them. She was like, get them. Let's get them on here. Let's get them individually. Let's get them all together. Let's get them on here because we want to see change. And this is what we advocate for. We do a lot of this. Y'all ain't the only ones. We do it for everybody. And let me say this to the viewers. These are the people who will actually make the change. As you've seen so many times before, in sports, the surprise, the Lucas, Donis just come out of nowhere, but they make the change. And these are the people who's going to make the change for you, because guess what? They're dedicated and they come from you. That's right. See, this is not no facade. This is not no act. You know what I'm saying? They're already successful. They're attorneys already. They're taking another step. So they adding to their resume, and they're telling you the reason why they're doing this is because of the struggles that they see in our society right now today. So we need all of you, not some of you. I need all of you to go out and vote for these sisters. When is voting? Because I don't even know when it's voting no more.
So early voting. So there's Chicago has a super site, which is at 191, just like my punch number, North Park.
Oh, watch out now.
I'm just saying. So you got to get to 191 in order to vote, North Clark. So it's supposed to start on May 31st. They pushed it back a couple of times, so people should look out for that. The neighborhood early voting, which means you can vote at a certain location in your ward, is June 13th through the 27th. So whatever your ward is, you can go into your ward to that neighborhood early voting site and vote.
So y'all go out and early vote everything. What else does that say?
And then election day is actually June the 28th. And then there's a final option for those who do the mail-in ballots, where by now they're getting ready to mail those ballots out for people to so please get the ballots and use them. Please, vote as well. Vote is the bottom line.
And all of my people, I'm sending all y'all stuff to my people. That's gonna be my I-1 ticket.
Oh, thank you.
And keep in mind that they have voting in Cook County Jail as well. A lot of people don't know that you can vote in Cook County Jail. So as your friends and family call home, make sure you tell them to vote for us. We need it.
And when I speak again in there, and it should be soon, I'll be speaking in there soon. I do via satellite, and I'll remind them as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of them don't. A lot of people don't know that that you can vote there, but you absolutely can, and you absolutely should.
You should.
Yeah, definitely should.
You should.
And I help change
your life
that.
Depends on it.
I helped change that so that they could. That was some of the advocacy that I did, and I do a lot of work within the community for the community, and that's why my organization is called Brothers Stand Together, so no one stands alone. So, I'm just excited to. I know we only got a few more minutes here, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, sisters, taking out your time to come on my show and to educate our brothers and sisters who don't know, because we don't be knowing. And now that you guys know that there is some people out there, and there's a lot of people out there that look just like you.
That's right.
We're trying to get in them positions so that they will no longer be. See, they're going to know, they can look at you and tell, to where other people won't even care about you. But no, more importantly than that, they take out their time and their efforts in order to make a change in their society. And we're asking you to step up and do your part. Now it's your turn. They did the hard part. Now it's your turn to make sure that these sisters are seated on the benches. And then you yourselves will feel good about knowing that you put somebody in there that's going to actually make a difference. I hear this all the time on my show, Brother Raymond. The judges. My nephew, he's incarcerated, and we were talking about not the crime, but the extensive time. He had 2 aggravated assaults and an attempt murder. He beat the attempt murder, but they gave him 77 years on the 2 aggravated assaults. So we weren't talking about the crime. We were talking about the extensive time. And that's why it partially was, because it was people who didn't look like us and really didn't care. So they said we couldn't get him this way, so we're gonna get him this way. And we got him back in court. He's fighting again, and hopefully through God's grace and mercy, he'll be able to come home. But this is why it's so important for you, ladies and gentlemen, to do your homework, know who you're voting for, and know who to vote for. Not just the judge, but know who you're voting for, because everybody says that they want to make a difference, but these sisters have shown you, and they have resumes and bios that you can go check out. And then if you're still not convinced, go in their area. They in the hood.
Right.
Go in their area and check them out for yourself. Don't let nobody else tell you, because I did my homework. Look, see this? I did my homework. I got all of them right here. Each and every candidate, I got them right here, and I read up on them, and I know a little bit more about them than I did before they came on the show. And so we're asking you, it's time for the change. If you guys want to see the change in our community and our society, then this is the opportunity for you to start. They says we have to start somewhere. This is the start where we can start right now, right here today. Right. And you can have their punch numbers, and you can vote them and get them in. Because you said you're tired of the same old. Well, this is a breath of fresh air, and this is something new. So let's go here. Let's start our path. And then not only that, after we get them in there, let's make sure, hold them accountable, because that's what they want you to do. They don't want you to put them in there. They want you to hold them accountable so that they can show you that they mean exactly what they say.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it don't get no better than this. I don't know about y'all, but it don't get no better than this. I have never in my life interviewed 4 dynamic sisters who's running for office at the same damn time, like 2 Chainz said, and different races, different parts of the race, right? And they're making a difference because they're well educated as well. And I got to put a little humor in there too. So I'm telling you guys, look it up, do your homework, do what you have to do. And if you can come out and volunteer, go out and volunteer. It won't hurt. Service work is the best work. Y'all know when I was in Chicago, I did a lot of service work. That's why a lot of people know me, and a lot of people understand my plight and what I do. And so I'm asking you guys, your mothers, elderly, for the elderly, till we have a lot of seniors. Mm-hmm. We're going to do the early voting thing, or we're going to do the mail-in. Make sure that when they mail it in, they can have their cards there. And they can vote. You can help them show. What we're trying to do is we're changing the narrative. Okay,
that's right.
Because at the end of the day, it's the same old, the same old. Like here now in Texas, they got these politicians so shook up now because of what just happened at their school that you wouldn't believe. They scooting and scattering, and Abbott is rolling around in his wheelchair. They're trying to get this stuff together because it's some fire lit up under their ASS. Yes, it was. And it should have been, because it shouldn't have never happened in the first place, because the seniors and the children are our priority. That should be our top priority, the people. Because when they have to understand, when I did activism, I tell them all, I work for the people. Right. I don't work for you. I work for the people. So I don't have no ties with the politicians, with their politics and all of that. I have ties to the people, and I do my work. And so what we're saying, Ms. Robinson, 181, Ms. Barlow, 191, Ms. Brown, what's your number?
196.
196, and it's different races, and it's going to be on my page. Katie Lowe probably getting it together. I hope she is, and we'll have it on my page, and you guys can go on my page, and y'all can take it, and then go on their pages. That's even better. Go on their page. Don't go on my page. Go on their page. Don't go. I'm tired. Get off my page. I'm tired of y'all on my page. Y'all are stalking my page. Go stalk their page. Get their information, and do what you need to do so that we can see some change, y'all. I'm telling y'all, this is a historic moment. If it never happens again on my show, this is historic. Now, one other thing was Fred Hampton Jr. He was on my show, but I'm telling you, this is the movement that y'all say y'all want to see. Here it is right now before you. So now we got 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes y'all can say whatever y'all want to say. We only got 5 more minutes, so y'all say what you want to say. I'm gonna talk myself to death.
For Brother Raymond, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for this wonderful platform. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to get on here, to allow the people to get to know us, because we don't have these avenues. And I ask you for election day, whenever that day is that you go to vote, that everyone please remember the four ladies that were here today, because we are independent. We are not a part of the system. We are independent. We are not a part of the system. We are from you, by you, because we are you. Vote for us.
That's new. It ain't FUBU, but we gonna buy it. I'm gonna get them on the phone. I'm gonna get them on the horn. Look, that's a new slogan. We gotta go with it. We gotta go with that. That's not. I love it.
Thank you, Brother Raymond. Thank you so much for having us on and giving us an opportunity to share with you. Again, thank you, Maria, for getting us all together. Just want to let you know and to remember all of us. We are experienced, we are fair, we're dedicated to justice, and we are the change we want to see on the bench. So if you want to change, consider us. Go to our website and remember us when you vote, and remember us on June 28th. That's the election day. But if you're early voting, Chelsey Renece Robinson, Maria Barlow, Jenetia Marshall, and Jackie Marie Portman Brown. Keep us in mind.
Don't meet them there, beat them there. So vote early. Get on in there. So it's already signed, sealed. You ain't got to worry about it. You ain't got to worry about the last minute, because you know they play them shenanigans at the end. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, Lord have mercy. So y'all go ahead, vote for them. I love you guys so much. It's the end of the show. Katie Lowe, come in and take us home, Katie Lowe. Like my computer about to die, girl. It's too powerful. Too powerful, my computer.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm so sorry. I want to remind everybody that you've been listening to a conversation with Brother Raymond right here every Friday at 5. Meta Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker. And please share the broadcast. Thank you and happy Friday.
Good afternoon. Bye-bye. Love you guys.